So today is September 13th, 2025, and it's been a long morning and it's still morning. I don't even really know where to start other than it feels like I'm in room she's not C913 and there's been a water break. I can remember on September 13th, 1994, afternoon, got out of school, junior high, and leaving my grandmother's house in Richmond. A friend of mine waited for me around the corner because we always rode the bus back towards the St. John's in Richmond together. And couldn't have boys at the house, but you know. And so, in leaving my grandmother's house, we walked towards McDonald Avenue and decided to go over to, I want to say it used to be Harry Hill's, but it was torn down school then. Now it's been rebuilt. It was at the school that was torn down, this abandoned building, that this guy that I considered to be my friend said, let's take a detour. It's a shortcut to get to the bus stop. And I decided, I trusted him. Let's take a shortcut, right? In the midst of this shortcut, there were other intentions that transpired from his heart, where I learned that no really didn't mean no, and no can be dressed, disguised, manipulated, silenced, taken, muted. No can make you voiceless for years after that moment, because something about the moment caused me to believe that my voice wasn't enough. What I wanted and didn't want didn't matter. And just thinking about being in room 913 right now, how many years later that moment impacted my voice. I didn't know. That wasn't a part of what I wanted to talk about, honestly. But I've hated this day. I've hated September 13th. For that reason. And I've hated it because it was also my grandparents' marriage anniversary. And my grandfather used to molest me from the time that the youngest age I can remember, I was 5. And I double hated September 13th. It was a day that I learned that my voice didn't matter. And it was a day that reminded me that love will cost you. That love isn't safe. that love means giving of yourself, that love is deceitful. And I'm grateful to even take this moment today. Like, I purposely have on this pink robe because I can remember the outfit that I had on the first time that my grandfather touched me. And I had on a white shirt with some pink polka dots and some pink shorts, some overalls. And for years, I never wore pink. So every time I put this robe on, it re-empowers me to take my power back, to put any associations that I had that day away. And so because I was so young, I associated wearing shorts, as the reason why my grandfather did what he did, and I associated the color pink to be associated with why my grandfather did what he did. And neither of those two things, honestly, had anything to do with it. And so I wear pink. I wear this robe. Matter of fact, I'm going to come a little closer because I'm going to bring this closer. I wear this robe intentionally. Make sure you see that 913. I wear this robe intentionally because it's a constant reminder of how, when trauma happens, when experiences happen, how we try to make sense of what has happened. And a lot of times we do that by way of association, right? And blaming ourselves. So, I woke up in room 913 this morning, and I didn't know I was in labor. But I met a young lady on Tuesday who asked me a question. And the question, I didn't know it, but apparently put me in labor for the last few days. And so this morning my water broke. Woke up. Holding a truth that I didn't see. Okay. For one, this is the 5th water break. I titled that this. The first time my water broke was in 1998 when I was having my son. I had no idea because my mother had them give me all kind of drugs. I was 15. The second time was in 2003 when I was in labor with my daughter, and I had never experienced the feeling of a water breaking. And so when it did break, I thought I had peed on myself, and they were like, "Oh, no. Your water just broke. Keep pushing. The baby is coming." Right. The third time my water broke was in 2016, and a friend of mine said to me randomly, "Were you even in the room when your son stopped breathing?" Mind you, decade has passed. Nobody has ever asked me that question. Not even hours of interrogations, court appearances. No one has ever asked that question. That question caused my third water break in life. Because out of all the years I've tried to punish myself, because that's what you do when you make decisions that cause harm and hurt other people. You need to be punished. But all this time, I have been trying to punish myself for something that I did not do, that I had no intentions of doing. But yet here I am trying to fit in the narrative that's been written, trying to fit in the opinions and what everybody else's experiences was, okay? So my water broke that day. And I got the gift of really being able to navigate who I am, what really happened, what the truth really is. That water break brought such a gift of life into my world. Years later, fast forward, I founded a nonprofit because I wanted to have access to going inside prisons, because I now have navigated these different pathways of really challenging and going back to my childhood experiences and going back to my experience being in the carceral system, and navigating through the treatment that I experienced inside, and then navigating a life sentence and navigating being sentenced to a forensic state hospital, and navigating through the abuses and that I experienced there, and then navigating back into an outpatient treatment program and the abuses that exist there. So now I have blueprinted everything that I have experienced, including how I'm standing, how I got to this place, even the truths of understanding that the reflection that I hold in any given time, whether seen or unseen, is the reflection that I will have in any atmosphere, right? I learned it the hard way because I had a reflection while I was in the hospital that I was this model patient, but yet underneath it all there was weeds and things festering and addictions and thought processes and belief systems that was still festering and smoldering and waiting for the opportunity to choke me again, right? So when I got out the first time, those weeds began to spring up, and it choked the life right back out of me, and I ended up back in the hospital. So that time around, when I got out 3 months later, I understood the importance of it has to be a lifestyle. It could never be part-time. And I didn't want my son's death or my daughter's experience to be in vain, not by my hands, not by my actions, not by my thoughts, not by my intentions, not by anything, right? Got it together, got out the system, period, 2016. Fast forward, I get hired to start going into Valley State Prison. It's a wonder to my soul, because this is what I was born to do. Like it's starting to make sense, but the picture isn't all the way clear. It's like I'm standing too close to the TV and it's blurry, but as I back up, the picture becomes clearer, right? So the picture isn't always all the way clear, but I am home. Like I'm home. So at any rate, I left that organization because my commitment is to the men and women on the inside. And I have to then question if my commitment was benefiting the men inside or whether it was a benefit to the organization. And honestly, the organization was just pickpocketing, right? So I left. Um, because I would want somebody to do the same. If someone is causing harm in any fashion, any type of harm, right? I don't want to be a part of that. But while I was there at Valley State, my water broke for the fourth time. We were in the middle of a session, and one of the guys said, "Hey, Tree, I realized my silence never helped anyone." Whew, man, when he said that, it was almost kind of like acid entered into my soul and showed me that my silence, everything that I have held on to, hasn't helped anyone. And even being in a space with them, although I was closer, I was still being silent. So that ate at me and ate at me and ate at me and ate at me. Oh my gosh. Until I started giving voice to the silence, right? And when that happened, then shame had to go, and guilt had to go, and unforgiveness had to go, and so many other things that I was holding on to had to go because I no longer lived in silence. Okay. Fast forward a couple years later, here I am, 2025. I was blessed to finally get a grant for my nonprofit from the CDCR. Innovative grant. I had tried many other times to get a grant. Didn't happen. Because I was trying to navigate my words to sound and look like what other orgs was using to get in, instead of accepting that I'm enough with what I'm bringing to the table. So this year, when I filled out the grant, I gave everything on the blueprint of my life that I have fit into this curriculum, this tailored curriculum for any audience. Like, I did that. And lo and behold, they said, hey, we want your program down in Lancaster and over in Cochrane. Okay. Couldn't believe it. That I'm enough. What I wrote, what I presented, what I gave was enough to get in. Like, for real? Okay, fast forward. I know nothing about business. So this young lady that I ran into on Tuesday, she asked me, why did I do a nonprofit if I am the experience? If everything that I'm bringing and serving to these men or women, if I am that experience, why did I do a nonprofit? That's been on my mind since Tuesday. Clearly, I've been having contractions, and I've been in labor since Tuesday. And this morning, my water broke. Because, once again, I made a decision. Because this is how it looked like there was the only way to get in. To do what I was born to do. To do what my journey has been woven and knitted to do what my journey has equipped me to do. The only way to get in is to have a nonprofit. Because all of these other people, if they got nonprofits and they're able to get it. And so I've been sitting with her question all week. And this morning, like, it's been so much hell. I got a revocation letter from the IRS. Got a revocation letter from the IRS because I didn't file taxes the last 3 years. I didn't know that even if you don't make any money, you still gotta file, right? I learned it the hard way. It'll never happen again. But because of that, seemingly, I wouldn't even qualify for the grant that they were supposed to release in July, right? So here we are in September. And I went and I met with CRM from Lancaster. And for everybody that has said everything other than she has a heart for the men that's inside that institution, shame on you. Because she said, I have to be careful and mindful of who I allow to come in to pour into these men. Because if they're not for real, if they're only about the money, they're not about the men. And I need people to come in that's about transformation and healing. So I started going in July, right? I had originally only said that maybe 12, 15 people. She said, let's do 30. Okay. Mind you, I don't even know this is a level 4 prison. I just know they let the kid in. So I started going up there in July. And every other Thursday I've been there. This week coming up be my 5th week, halfway through the program. And I've been able to give and pour all of what I've been through in life. Like when I stepped into that room, it made sense. Why I had to go through the trauma that I went through as a child. Why I had to go through so many ACEs just in my 0 to 18 years. Why I had to have my young adult years the way that they were. When I stepped into the room, it made sense that everything that I went through in some way is connected to each of these men that have shown up. And for organizations that make people do interviews. I'm not doing with my job right now. We interview people before we sit down and around the table to talk about who's getting in, right? What I love about Tree's House is if you signed up and you showed up in whatever condition you are in, that's good enough. You don't have to prove yourself. You don't have to fit some demographic of, oh yeah, we are diverse and we show equity and we are inclusive. It is none of that. Like when I gave my initial assessment to these men, out of the 22 that showed up for the first day, at least 19 of them were gang affiliated. Several of them still in addictions. Several of them just got write-ups the same week that they started. And they would never qualify for the organization that I work for. They would never be a part of that group. That part of transformation and healing is like, no, like give me you at your worst, because I know what it's like to operate and overcome and be determined and stay in the game when you at your worst. Like I know that. I've lived that. Give me them. And let me show you what I got. Right? So start pouring into these men. And guess what? They came back. Second time. Then they start giving me notes. Oh, this person might they need to be in the program too. They start bringing their friends' name in, like they got to get some of this too. The homework, the out of class work that I give them, they bring it back in, most of them. But when they wrote about pieces of the missing piece of themselves, or they write about sexual trauma that they've been through, or they come in, they like, hey, Miss Tree, you know, I might not participate as much as I was participating because my mom is in a coma. Like, it's real relationships, real redemption, real restoration that's taking place in this space, right? But what this woman spoke to me and asked me, why do I have a nonprofit, right? So now my tax exemption has been revoked. And I've had to go through reinstating and all of these things, right? And they're just now releasing the grants. And now my shit don't even exist because I'm waiting to go through this process. And so this is where the water broke this morning. It was the moment realizing that everything that I have done, everything that I've poured, every tailored piece of information that I have given, and not just collectively, but individually, because I can't treat the addict and give him the same directives as the person that's struggling with cell phones, or the person that's dealing with his mom being in a hospital. Everybody is individualized in this race, although we're in this collective space together. And you have to have something that meets people where they are and be able to navigate with them while everybody is in the race. The destination is the same, but everybody else is in a different route, a different place in the air. We're soaring on different levels, but we're headed to the same direction. I understand that. And so I realized that it was never even the CDCR that gave me access. When I met the CRM, something transpired in that conversation, in word, in presence, and experience, that she saw that what I am, who I am, is enough. Right? So this water break that I've had this morning on the truth of understanding that I was already enough, and I didn't have to get in using the nonprofit way, where I've actually been non-profiting, serving, and pouring, and pouring. So much so that last month I poured in over 200 people throughout that month. And when I hit a crisis and I called someone and she said, "Hey girl, let me hit you right back." And I hung up that phone and I didn't feel like I had a right back. But in that moment, I learned that I love myself, because I got up. I got up like I didn't have a right back. And I started making moves like I didn't have a right back. I started making moves like I really loved myself, like I deserved to live, like I deserved to be not in this place of chaos and just emotionally weighted down. I deserve more than this. So I began to go back to my roots of coping skills and playing the drums and playing the piano and doing a drum circle and journaling and painting. And I began to use my house and my tools, the same tools that I give to other people, I had to then use on myself. But I ultimately learned that I love myself. And that became a conversation for these men. What do you do when you reach out and you need help and you're in a crisis, and the person or the organization you reach out to says, "Oh, our next appointment is in 2 weeks." Kaiser said that one time. Or, "Let me hit you right back." What are you going to do? Okay. So I woke up. My water broke. And I remember when my water broke and I thought I had peed on myself. And it wasn't pee, it was just an indication that there was a gift on the way. There was a blessing on the way. There was life on the way. But it only happened once the water broke. It's been hard. It's been a hard labor. Hard labor. But I wrote this morning. I don't know if I'm going to be able to read it. I don't know if I'm going to be able to read it. But it says, "The wind blew gently, barely bending a flower's back, barely moving debris left behind. I laid there, waiting for the response, but it didn't happen. I went traveling into a place that I had known before, in a different time, in a different season, unafraid. I didn't forget how to bicycle, I mean bicycle. The cost of not forgetting how to bicycle, no matter how far in between I ride, I've grown. I have. But the water hasn't broken yet. I'm in a coma, caught operating makeshift access, not realizing that I was already inside and everyone else was out. The wind blew gently. I felt its warmth, stopped as it danced softly, listened to its movement, inhaled what it gave to me. The wind blew from her lips with no whisper. Come close to see more. Then step back so you can run and leap. The wind blew from her sight, and she saw what I needed in order to breathe again. Everywhere and nowhere, loudly muffled. I thought it was the only way to get access. The wind blew. It waited for my response. I finally exhaled, woke up from this coma, and understood I am enough. This morning, my water broke for the 5th time. Because it's time for the gift, for the push, to recognize those that are in the room with me and to see what I've been carrying all along. Until the next episode, peace. Do something today that your future self will thank you for.